Thank you again, Monica, for that too. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening. See Scott coming on right now as well, so awesome. My name is Nikki. I'm the VP of Development with Palm Beach Tech, and I am actually really excited about tonight and this week, just because this is a brand new speaker for us, Tom King and Scott, that are both from Enrollment Resources. And this week also, we have our 5th year anniversary event coming up on Wednesday evening. It actually, if anybody hasn't seen it yet, you can actually go to our website and under the events tab, the website is www.palmbeachtech.org. Under the events tab, you will see the 5th anniversary happy hour there. Like I said, it's Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. And then I'll try to drop that link for anybody that's watching on social now as well. To give everybody a brief overview of what we do that's not familiar with Palm Beach Tech, we are basically a tech nonprofit, started, like I said, 5 years ago in downtown West Palm, built out into a county-wide organization here in Palm Beach County. And then we just recently announced that we are going to be expanding and becoming a South Florida organization. So now we have, within the last year, we've gained a lot of members from Martin County all the way to Miami. So we're very happy about that. And again, very happy about our 5th year anniversary coming up. So I want to go right into introducing our speakers. Tom, if you'd like to start off and kind of introduce the both of you and tell us a little bit about what you do, and of course, Enrollment Resources, and then feel free to take it away from there. Let me know if you need help or any questions throughout.
Awesome. Nikki, thank you very much. And great to be with everybody here tonight. Thanks for having us down there. I say down because I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, Scott is from Florida and lives in Florida, but I am up in Cleveland, Ohio. So nice to be with everybody today. I'm Tom King with Enrollment Resources, and Scott Spitolnik as well with me from Enrollment Resources. And just a quick overview, not a sales pitch thing. Just to let you know, we're an innovator in the career education sector primarily, and we focus on conversion rate optimization, which is a fancy word for improving your processes. And really on the marketing side, we do a lot on the marketing side, everything from web design, Google ad management, landing pages, all of those things on the digital marketing side of the world. Then we also have a really unique tool that we'll spend a little time tonight talking about as an enhancement potentially, or a way to improve what you do without having to redesign a website. Our goal is always to help you do more with what you have. So we're going to give you a lot of tips tonight, and a lot of things that you can do to improve website for lead generation on your own without having to hire somebody and maybe not having to redesign a website, and some other tools that we may have. And we use a product called Virtual Advisor, which is a software on our end. And you'll get a chance to see a little bit of that tonight. Again, not a heavy sales pitch at all. It gives you an idea of things that you can be doing to improve your marketing conversion rates and your web design as well. And then we also do consulting through our scorecard process or practices, which is mainly marketing and sales or admissions for schools consulting, which really allows us to take the industry best practices. And we have about 90 clients, almost 100 clients between the US, Canada, and some overseas as well, and gives you an idea of what best practices are being followed out there, and a little bit of an idea of where you are in relation to them. And we find that most people you don't know what you don't know. And you may know a lot about your business, your company, and maybe even your industry. But if you don't have any idea what other people are doing that's successful across the US, the world, and other locations, then you're maybe missing some opportunities. So we're going to keep it really quick and rolling tonight. So we have a lot of stuff to cover. Scott, I'll let you just jump in real quick, introduce yourself, and then we'll get rolling.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Thank you, Nikki. Scott Spitolnik, and as Tom said, Enrollment Resources. I won't repeat what Tom has gone through about some of the things that we do, but we find in most cases there's a lot of missed opportunities, particularly on the digital side. Websites are probably the greatest source of missed opportunities. As Tom said, we don't advocate spending bucket loads of money. In most cases, the companies that we deal with, they have the tools in place, and it comes down, it's a matter of building on those and optimizing what the company is presently doing. And again, there's really no need to spend a whole lot of money trying to generate leads, trying to generate inquiries when the tools are already in place. And hopefully we'll be able to give you some takeaways where you may be able to redesign, well, not so much redesign your website, but add some tweaks to your website to generate more leads, engage explorers, visitors coming to your website. So with that, Tom.
Awesome. All right, well, I'm going to grab a screen share here. We'll pop up a little PowerPoint, and we'll try to toggle back and forth, but it's more important to look at a PowerPoint than to look at our faces here. So I don't know that that's something you want to do all evening. So let's jump into it, and I'm going to kick it off, and then Scott's going to really run through some of the website stuff here. But really from our aspect, and especially when we deal with schools and then many other businesses, we get into what is the purpose of a website. And the purpose of a website for almost every business out there is to generate leads, turn visitors into prospects. It's not to provide all the information you could ever possibly think of about your company and what you do, so that it leaves nothing to the imagination and no one, everybody can make up their own mind without wanting to inquire. We want to raise the level of interest to a point where someone wants to find out more, wants to explore their opportunities. People find your website, but how well can you engage them to get them to move forward with something? And for most of us, we're selling something, and I can't sell it if I can't engage you, and I want to be able to engage you, which is what we're going to talk about in the second half today. Talk about a little bit on how to engage people and generate some leads. In the second half, we're going to talk about how to sell virtually without having to worry about in-person communications, how to effectively sell and close students or prospects. So without further ado, Scott, we're going to jump into some of the things you can do to make sure your website generates a great amount of lead traffic for you.
Yeah, well, split testing, and that, again, there are so many companies out there, so many schools, but no matter what type of business you're in, that keep the same thing plugged in, keep it running without testing different elements. Split testing really is just, we call it A, B, C, D testing. It's taking, saying the same thing, but doing it different. It may be a change in photos. It may be a slight change in verbiage. It may be a change in call to action. But again, like Tom said before, we don't know what we don't know. So if you're not split testing, and again, I don't care what type of business you have, if you're not split testing, and which by the way, doesn't cost you a nickel to do, you're really doing yourself and your business a disservice. So split testing is critical. We do a lot of split testing, and in some cases it may increase conversion rate a 0.5%. But when you have a business that may be getting 10,000 visitors to your site, 20,000, whatever, 0.5% is huge. 0.5% on 10,000 visitors could mean another 50 leads, if my math is right, another 50 inquiries that are telling you, yes, I want more information. And again, that's what split testing can tell you. It can show you what messaging is working best. It doesn't only apply to the digital arena as well. If you're using the telephone, telephone is a lifeline to a lot of businesses. It even goes so far as split testing your messages that you may be leaving on voicemail. Same holds true with emails or texts. We advocate split testing a lot just to see what's working. Some are going to be more successful than others. And again, it doesn't cost you anything to split test. So again, Tom, I don't know if you want to go, down, I know I hit messaging, there's colors, things like that. So
let's just talk a little bit about a few things here. Number one, If you have multiple locations for your business, they should be listed on your website. Unless you get over 5, then it's going to be too many, and there can be. But if not, if it's 1, 2, or 3, should be prominent. But your phone number's got to be the most prominent piece on your website. For many, the phone number is the afterthought. Everybody thinks, oh, someone's going to request info or go to our contact us page, and their phone number is tiny and hidden. It's hard to find. And most people are going to look at your website via mobile. So we want to make sure that even when it's mobile, and everything should be designed for mobile first, then desktop second, that your phone number is big, prominent. It's got a sorry about that. It's got a color that's easy to get to, and it's clickable. So phone call is going to be your best lead. Besides someone who stumbles in the front door of your business, someone who calls your business is the best. If somebody fills out a form online, now you have to go chase them down. Now you send them an email, you make a phone call, maybe you text them, maybe you'll follow them, try to find them on LinkedIn. Now the adventure begins and the stalking begins. And it's going to take you a while to get a hold of people. Sometimes they'll respond quickly and sometimes they're not. So give people a phone number and make it easy for them. We'll give you a couple of demonstrations of what these things look like as well.
Hey, Tom, what's your opinion on vanity numbers? I know when I was running marketing, for companies, it was, I thought everybody thought it was real cool to have a vanity number, 726 cool if you work for an AC place or, whatever.
You don't think 1-800-CALL-TOM is going to work? So it's too hard. Now I got to look at my phone and I got to figure out, okay, what's the T? Okay, now what's the A? What's the L? Oh, another L. Now don't make people have to do any work. You got to make it simple. Just forget the vanity number. Stick your number on there. I don't care what random numbers they look like. Just get your phone number on there, make it clickable, make it big, and make it a different color than your logo and everything else so that people can click on it and they can call you easily.
Or if you have a vanity number, put the numbers in parentheses right next to the 1-800-COOL or whatever.
Put your vanity in the parentheses and put your number
or
prominent.
At one point, phones didn't even have the letters on the keypad. They do now, obviously, but at one point, with cell phones coming out, they just had the numbers and they didn't have the A, B, C, D, E, F. So a lot of people that were using vanity numbers.
I don't even like to have to key in my 4-digit PIN when I'm buying at Walmart. So don't make me have to figure things out. The easier you make it for everybody, the better. So the next piece we'll talk about here is form placement. And Scott, I'll let you talk a little bit about form placement here too, but make it simple. You got to make it easy for people to request info. I shouldn't have to search for a form or a way to request info.
Yeah, in forms, it always amazes me when I go onto websites and face it, look at your own habits. I look at my own habits as well. And if I want information if I fill a form out, I'm serious about getting information because we all know what's going to happen. Once you put your name, email address, and phone number down, you're going to be contacted. So people that are filling forms out are pretty serious about your service, about your product. We recommend that form should be on every single page of your website. And in fact, we've ABC tested the particular forms that we use. And we found that if you have 4, 2, 3, 4 questions, yes, I want more information. How much does it cost? Or there we go. This happens to be a school one, but we found that by having I want answers, believe it or not, and having people love to tick off things apparently, because it increased conversion rate by about 0.5% by having these 4 questions for our EDU clients. And again, not submit now, having a strong call to action, get info. And we have found that, submit now or some other little iteration of that did not work as effectively as that particular form. But having it on every single page, we found having it on the right side of the page above, above the fold, if you will, on the website is most effective. So, and it's a call to action, book a tour, contact us. It drives me up a wall when I see submit, because we've tested those calls to actions against submit, and the other call to actions increase conversion rate, believe it or not. Something as simple as that. So
awesome. I'm going to just share one more example with us. So we'll just keep popping back and forth. And a couple of these are school websites as well. But when we look at a typical website, again, phone numbers, if you have multiple locations, prominent at the top as well. And then if you're a school, and we'll start with schools, but we'll talk about other businesses. There's really 4 ways to generate leads from a website. The number one would be if you have a apply now. So if there's an apply now on your website, I think Boca's got one. So they have this little apply online. It's not a full application for a college. It's a kind of a fake little lead form with address, program, campus, and do you have a high school diploma? That's it. It's not a full application, but what we're doing here is we're looking for the people that are most serious. They don't want info. They don't want anything else. They just want to start now. So give people who are really interested and ready to buy from you. You guys all see those buy now when you're shopping. So if I'm shopping, do I want to put it in my cart or do I want to buy it now? Well, this is the buy it now. So why fuss around with searching, putting it in a cart, checking? I just want to buy now. So that's the apply online if you're a school. Also, if you are doing this book a tour. So for schools, it might be book a tour or book a virtual tour, or it might be book an appointment with somebody. So I want to book an appointment right now. I don't want to request info and have somebody call me at some later date and request info and have somebody, you know what? I want to just meet with somebody right now, book a tour. So if you don't want to apply now, maybe you want to book a tour or book an appointment. As a rep or a salesperson, why would I not want a lead who already tells me he wants to meet tomorrow at 4 o'clock? I don't know if that meets my calendar. It doesn't matter. I'll call him and maybe I can still get him or her today, sooner, what have you. But at least I know I've got someone who's ready to talk right now. So that's your top 2. Then your third one might be this request information form, which is pretty standard. And we recommend this on every single page in the upper right. Very simple, name, email, phone, maybe campus or program or product that you're interested in, depending on what you guys sell, and have that on every page. Make it easy for someone to fill this out. I shouldn't have to click a button, find it, do something else. So that's number 3. Number 4 would be your contact us page. So that's your generic contact us page. That's kind of a catch-all for anybody in there. And then the last one, and we'll talk a little bit about later, is we've created a little quiz for people who are a little unsure of what they want to do yet. They're not ready to book an appointment. They're not ready to order or apply now. They're not ready to request info. They're just exploring if this is even something that they may want. Beautiful. We can fill that out. Last thing I'll just jump on here too is under banner blindness here. What is banner blindness? So banner blindness is simply people get turned off when they're constantly seeing banners to do something. And I'll reshare that page. So and I'm hoping that this website will give me a good example of this. But banner blindness would be this big form over here. Maybe I'm just tuning that out because it's just too in my face that they want me to do something. And but in the body, when I'm reading here, maybe I can click on a line that says, get started now or request info now in the text. So always also put a link in the text as well as these fill in forms, because people sometimes they just block out banners and they're willing to click on whatever might be in that text. So we found that that'll give about a 30% bump in people requesting info when they're starting to scroll down here and maybe they're reading and then they find text that gives them a link to whatever they want to do here in that text. So that was a real quick review into that, but give them multiple ways to request info from you.
And
so
keep it short. I think you mentioned that.
Short.
Yeah.
Scott, you want to keep going? You want to jump in?
Now keep going, Tom. You're
All right,
you're
just
doing fine.
effective calls to actions. I'm not going to give examples here on this, but just to give you an idea of effective calls to action, just making sure that your buttons have a unique color, that they say exactly what they're going to do. Don't put submit as a button. What is it that you're getting? Get info now. Get started today. Whatever it is, put a benefit on there. Get your packet now, not submit. Don't ever use submit, and make it an actionable color that's differentiated from the rest of the site. Number 4 here, make sure your photos are aligned with your target market. So do you have a persona or a demographic target of your market and who they are? And if you do, make sure that those pictures are represented in there. If you're a school, use actual student photos. If you're a business, try to use actual client photos if you can. I'd like to see people's eyes. I don't want to see the back of their head. I don't want to see 100 different people in a large group that's trying to represent every ethnicity that's out there. Small groups, 2-3 people looking at me, keeping their eyes on me, because the eyes are the windows to the soul, and that's what's going to grab my attention, is seeing someone's eyes. And if you can also put a caption underneath, that would be fantastic. And then the last thing we'll touch base on here on web design, again, these are just 5 simple things to look at on your website, is make sure you have an effective headline. Copy is really important, but an effective headline, just think about when you walk through the grocery store and you come to the checkout counter and they have the National Enquirer or the Star or People Magazine or Us Magazine or whatever. Usually the big headline is something that's very eye-catching. It might be 600-pound John Travolta eats a small boy or something, whatever it might be. I got to read this. How did he get to 600 pounds? How did he eat a boy? I got to open this up and I got to read it. Then you open it up and then there's a subhead in there that drags you to read the copy and then on down. So make sure you've got a real simple headline that gives you the benefit. Don't say, we make people smile. If you're, how do you make people smile? What is it you do, and how soon can they get it or do it, or how will it benefit them? If you're a school, get your medical assisting career started in as little as 6 months. Good headline, tells me exactly what you do, what the benefit is to me. And if you guys are going to use numbers, don't round. Don't say, well, 90% satisfaction. Say 94.2, 92.4, 90.7% satisfaction rate. Whatever it might be very specific with stats. And then other headlines, become a, get your, start your, any of those things. Get them to start to see what is it in, what's in it for them and what the benefit's going to be. So we've got a little tool that we like to use on websites. We've given you the lead forms that you have on a website, but we've got a program called Virtual Advisor. It can be used in any industry. We'll show you the school industry. Scott, you going to do a demo of this?
Yeah, I sure.
I'm going to stop sharing, but this tool will actually sit on your website, and it will it'll catch all those people that didn't take direct action through the use of a small little quiz. Scott, I'm going to have you go ahead and screen share. I'm going to have you run through it really, really quickly.
Yeah, and again, it's an engagement tool. You know, we talk about missed opportunities. Most businesses, most schools, whatever we're talking about, there's really no engagement with the website, and that's crucial. We talk about a 3% conversion rate for, and let me just share my screen here, and yeah, we talk about engagement, and again, it's really easy to figure out what your conversion rate is. That's going into your website account, your analytics, seeing how many new users you had, and then figuring out, hopefully you're keeping track of how many leads you're getting, and then just dividing the two. So if you've got 1,000 new visitors to your site and you got 100 leads, Well, that's a 10% conversion rate. Typically businesses, schools will get about a 3 to 4% conversion rate. So what does that mean? It means that 96, 97% of the people visiting the website or getting whatever information they want, navigating away without taking any action. That is giving you their name, email address, and telephone number. So they're not turning into a lead. So what we developed quite a few years ago, as a matter of fact, is an engagement tool. And can hopefully everybody can see my screen. Again, this is a school. We've tested it out in other verticals. In fact, we had pre-planning pathway for the funeral industry, the funeral home industry. And again, it can be, it really can be developed. It can be changed around for any number of industries. This one is career training right for you. It could be for a financial institution. Are you ready for retirement? Or any number. We have our own developers, we have our own programmers, so you know we can test it out. We can develop a pathway. So again, a prospective student comes to the website. They see this on every page that they go to. Is career training right for you? We recommend it in the body of it. They click on the button, and they're taken to a landing page. They have to fill it out, and I won't go through the whole thing. But again, as soon as they click on it, in order to go any further, they have to give you their contact info. Boom, get started. Then they're being led down a pathway. You know, what program are you interested in? What research have you done? It gets into their core sense of urgency, what program they're interested in, what would keep them from starting school, what their goals are. And again, if you can use your imagination for, you know, the type of services that you're offering or the type of business that you have, you know, the questions can be customized. What it does, it elevates that particular lead into an opportunity inquiry where you're armed with a lot of different information that prospective customer has given you. They're telling you what their goals are. They're telling you what's stopping them from buying. They're telling you that no, they're not ready for retirement, and they're giving you the reasons why. So again, I won't go through the entire thing, but the back end of it, you know, the back end analytics. And again, Nikki, you can see my screen, can't you? Okay. You know, again, you know, the back end gives you all the answers to what they filled out. I liken it to those surveys, the quizzes on Facebook. For anybody that's on Facebook, I dare you to say you never got sucked into one of those trivia or I'm a genius IQ quizzes. It's along the same lines. It engages that prospective student with your website. And
So that's not, I'm not really a genius.
Yeah, well, I am. You may, you know, any of the ones that I've taken. No, but again, it elevates not only the inquiry, but it also elevates that phone conversation when you do speak to that prospect on the phone. It's not starting the conversation from ground zero. They've given you the answers to the questions that you want answered, and it just starts the conversation off at a higher level. So again, I know we've only got about 10 or so, you know, 15 minutes, but they're taking themselves down the pathway and actually qualifying themselves and telling you, yes, I have a need for your service or your school or, you know, whatever. So, and again, this is part of our admissions remote, which I think, Tom, you're going to touch on remote sales, but we have several different pathways. Not only one for the front end as far as generating more inquiries from the website. We have a stale lead recovery. It's a great way to nurture those people that have indicated interest in your business, your school, whatever, and to reignite them, you know, as well. So I won't go through the whole thing, but
okay.
I think
one of the things just to keep in mind here, as you try to put, again, something on your website, these are already people visiting you. So these are organic leads. They're already somewhat of interest, but they didn't want to take direct action. And Scott, you could have kept sharing, but we talked about at the beginning, keep your forms short. So why are you guys talking about putting a 7-page survey on a website to get all kinds of info out of me about my motivation, my goals, my work history, my whatever your business is looking for from a qualification standpoint. But on these things, we found that we have about an 82% ability of people to get all the way through all of the questions. That's 7 pages of survey. So the first page, though, is still name, phone, email. If they drop off, you at least have the lead. You can start to work the lead. After that, we start to ask those additional questions. And as Scott, you can actually just click on answers and go through the different sections. But we'll start with what program interests you and why. So what program or what product? Then your current situation. Are you currently working, not working? What is it you like, don't like? Again, this is a school, but maybe it's what product are you using now? What do you like? What do you not like about that product or vendor? Your goals. What is it you want to accomplish? What are you looking to accomplish? What's motivating you to do this? This is a lot of information we capture, and then some logistics about when do you graduate? Do you have a reliable transportation for a college or whatever it might be? Who's supporting you? Who are the other parties involved in the buying process? How are they providing moral support, financial support? Are they looking at who's going to be reviewing a contract? It allows you to get all of this info, and about 82% of the time, we're able to grab all of that info for you and deliver a super high quality lead that sales teams will love. Simply because as Scott had mentioned earlier, you get all this great info. And don't think people won't do it. Just don't start off with the quiz without getting their name and email and phone first. Then at the end, we give them the opportunity to actually book an appointment with you. So they actually turn into someone who's very high in the funnel, not super interested, into someone who's ready to, you know what, I think and they get a feedback report, lets them know how good of a match they might be for your product. And then would you like to have someone contact you? Sure. When, what time? And you can book that appointment again, which gives you about a 10% greater chance of converting. So from a school standpoint, business standpoint, it'll be one of your higher converting lead sources. And as Scott mentioned, probably give you about a 30% lead lift on your website.
Yeah, and it gives them a score, readiness score. It's also giving you the information, what device they used while they were taking it. It's all mobile friendly. It's also able to crawl the web in some cases and tell you what, in fact, the student is taking it now, but also gives them gives you their social media presence. So if they're on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, it will give you a link where you can just click on it and go right to their page. It's just another communication method if you're trying to reach out to them, as well. So
fantastic.
So do you have, I'm going to stop sharing now, Tom, I guess. And,
perfect. I'm going to pick up and we're going to take this last 10 minutes and just run through some of the benefits of virtual sales. And as in our school industries that we work with, virtual interviewing and tours. But just from a sales standpoint, I've been doing virtual for, I don't know, probably good 15 or more years. And for many of us in sales, we're probably ahead of the school industry. School industry has been very in-person industry for a long time, except for online distance learning schools. But really, this whole pandemic and the COVID thing has pushed everybody to either remote working and virtual working. So Zoom being your main platform. But we know that virtual is going to be, and we're an advocate. So we're advocates of doing everything through virtual tours or virtual interviews, whether you're selling a product, a school, an education, whatever it might be. I don't believe unless you've got a showroom or something that they absolutely have to get there, you can do a much better job virtually. It's way more connecting than phone. Of the human communication spectrum, 7% is verbal. It's what you say. 38% is tonal. It's how you say it. It's that vocal inflection in your voice, which is a big part of the training on doing these things. And then 55% is physiological. It's seeing my body language. It's seeing my hand movements or my facial expressions as I talk to you. If I'm off screen and I'm not sharing my screen, it's not going to be as connecting. You're not going to connect with me if you can't see my eyes, you can't see my face, or if I'm constantly looking out the window or something like that. We see a significantly higher appointment setting rate when it's virtual versus phone. So when they can see you and they can look in your eyes and you have that presence, we have about a 90% chance of actually setting an appointment with someone versus typically about a 70% chance. We have a 90% chance of them showing because we can go right from a phone call into an interview immediately if it's virtual, as opposed to having to set an appointment, having them cancel, having them show. If I've got you on the phone, I'm going to move you right into my Zoom room immediately. How long will it take? Oh, about 15 minutes more. Let me show it to you. Perfect. Let me send you the link right now. And more people can easily participate. Well, my owner's not in. My CFO's not around. Totally fine. Let's get them on. Let's get them involved in Zoom. Let's get her involved.
And
then
our clients have seen an incredible spike also in their appointments and interview rates by doing it virtually. I mean, it's just
well, when you're at 90% versus somewhere around 70 or 90% versus 50, it's a huge spike in effectiveness. And the goal is getting in front of more people. The key to sales is how many people can I get in front of? It's my pipeline. The more people I get in front of, the more chances I have to be successful. The other thing about virtual is it's a lot shorter. It might take me an hour in person to show somebody everything and whatever we do. Virtually, you have to shorten it because people don't have the attention span. We're already at 40 minutes and your attention span may be waning now. You're thinking, all right, these guys got 5 minutes. We can hardly wait. So you've got to keep it short and you've got to keep it solid. And people right now may be worried, and you may not even be allowed to bring people to your facility, but even if you are able to bring people to your business or go to someone's business or bring them to your school, it's not the same as it used to be. And I threw in a couple quick pictures here. Who would you rather deal with? Now, you're probably looking at this saying, I wouldn't want to deal with either one of these guys, but who would you want to, who do you want to deal with? Someone wearing a mask or someone who you can at least see their face and their facial expressions? Is this engaging to bring someone to your place of business and the first thing you do is stick a gun at their head to take their temperature? So again, I'm trying to avoid bringing people to my place of business or my campus. Stop doing it. Well, that's how we've always done it. And we love our campus. We love our place of business. It shows great. We've got this great facility. Not when you got to stick a mask on everybody. You can only let one person in at a time and you got to take everyone's temperature. And then you're going to show them either a classroom where everybody's 6 feet apart, or you can't sit next to them and they can't bring other people with them. So it's really important, we think, to get completely virtual. And we do a lot of training on this. We have a platform for it. And the last couple of things I'll mention here is, Scott just mentioned it. We've seen great increases, and here's those increases. Versus in person, we've seen about a 44% increase in actual appointment shows. So from lead to the actual appointment showing, about a 50% increase to schools that were already, or companies that were already doing a good job. And for people that are just average at best in their industry, which is most people, it's almost a 100% increase in appointments on a weekly basis, simply because they're available. They'll jump on a video at a Zoom conference and they'll do it, as opposed to, I got to drive down there. I got to get my mask. I got to do whatever it is. My car breaks down. My kids, are throwing a tantrum. I got to cook 50 hot dogs for the children, whatever it is. They don't want, too many things get in the way. Lead to application increases as well. So from lead to actually getting a contract or an application, about a 25% increase to schools and businesses that were already good. And then people that were just average at it, at best, almost a 70%. Again, I didn't put the round number. So practicing what I preach here, 66.9% increase, which is the actual increase. It's more believable than when I say 70% of people that were just an average business. And the key really is having a structure that your team can follow. And this is where I think we found the most problems with not only schools, but businesses, is people working from home. They don't have any structure whatsoever. So they start going here, and then somebody says something, and then you do this. And I don't know what I'm going to do next. It can't be a random walk. And if I'm going to showcase something, what is it that you're going to show? You have to have a presentation completely put together that I can share. This is a presentation that's put together, not a lot of visuals or images like we would normally like to do because we're trying to give a lot of info, but don't just stick together a bunch of YouTube videos. Well, let me stop and let me click on a YouTube video, and then let me screen share again, and then show this. And now I got to show pricing. That pricing is on another sheet of paper. Let me stop and find that paper and share that. And then I'll go back, and now I'm going to share this. Oh, and now I got to go back and show you something off my website, the disclaimer. And then you can't be popping out back and forth. You have to have a process. As we mentioned before, 30 minutes, keep it short and sweet. And this is really how that 30 minutes breaks down. This will be the last thing we'll give you today, is when doing a presentation, typically it's a little discovery at the beginning, and that beginning this is that 30 minutes, 10 minutes of discovery. What is their why? Why are they dissatisfied with where they are, what they have, the product they use, or something that forces them to need your product? The why. You got to find out the why. And then, but they have to say, it's not for me to find out more so I can present them with the right product. It's for them to tell themselves that they need a product. Then I'll find out what that is. Then you also have to find their why now. What makes now the right time to be doing this? So there's your discovery, 10 minutes. Find out what they need. Make sure that they articulate how much pain they're in and discomfort they're in with what they have now, or the lack of what they have now, and why it's so important to do something now. Give them a little overview about us. Here's what our company does. Okay. Here's what we do. Here's our features, our benefits. Here's how those are going to help you. Maybe have a short little video tour. Have all this in one platform, which is what we do. So it's just one web-based platform. So we put all of the questions, all the about us information, all the video into one platform, so nobody has to pop back and forth, and you can turn on and off screen sharing, but never have to leave that platform. Then you provide the product overview or course overview. Here's what it does. Here's how that's going to benefit you. Can you see why we do that? Then go over how to pay for it, how much it's going to cost. Then I'm going to take myself off of screen sharing typically, and this is where I'll close. So I'm going to close face to face, not on a screen, because I want you to see my eyes. I want you to look into my eyes as I try to sell you something and see if you will say yes or so to that. So I want you to be able to see and make that connection with me. So that was a rocketing 45 minutes of stuff that we tried to throw at you as quickly as possible. The last thing I want to pop up is I'll screen share, which again, don't love the screen sharing the end of it here, but if you are interested in anything that we are talking about here today, whether it be the website quiz marketing tool or the virtual interview or sales pathway, we are offering every one of your members today, or anybody listening today, 60 days free, no cost to set it up. If you find it's useful to you, if you get enough leads in the first 60 days and close enough of those, you could probably pay for it for the next 10 years. It's a pretty inexpensive product anyway. Again, I don't want to be too salesy, but if you are interested, here's what we do. Here's info about Scott and I right in here as well. So if you want to reach out to us, we're more than happy to share information with you guys.
Yeah, and also if somebody wants to send us their URL, we can take a look at your website, make a few recommendations on best practices, and again, implement them. And if you can increase your conversion rate by a half, 1%, 2%, so be it. But we'd be happy to take a look at your website and make some recommendations where needed. So
if you're open to a little bit of optimization when we look at your website, and you can
open to
take some
criticism.
somebody did a version of this and they called it "Your Baby is Ugly," and I think that's the best title ever. I just said it, so I stole it, but I wanted to do an entire session called "Your Baby is Ugly," where we just basically rip apart people's websites for fun. But you get some really good takeaways, and if it improves your business, I mean, we're very serious about what we do there. We want you to improve. So if that's something that you would be interested in, to reach out, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys.
Yeah, no charge.
All righty.
Thank you so much, Tom and Scott. I actually have a couple questions for you.
Right.
So the first question was, you were talking about, like, utilizing the different pages of the website and trying to bolster like engagement. Obviously, when you go to a website for the first time and you hit the home screen, what do you think, in your opinions, are the best ways to get people to actually click on the different pages, or what's the best way to catch their attention right away before they, because most people spend 10, 15 seconds and they go, okay, I don't want to see this page, or I'm just going to click off this website. What's the thing that captures them the most right away from the home page?
Headline. So headline copy. So having a picture with the headline built into the picture at the top, and having a grabbing headline, as we talked about earlier. The headline is the 600-pound John Travolta eats baby boy headline. I mean, I gotta have something that, what is it you do, and is this right for me? Grabbing me to read the next thing, and don't be text heavy. Bullet points and subheads that are large, so I can scroll till I find a subhead that's interesting, or the product page that I want, and make everything simple to click.
Yeah, graphics, photos, maybe even a YouTube, a video or whatever, depending on the product or service. But as Tom said, you go to websites, and I find myself doing it, particularly on my phone. You go to a website and it's nothing but text. And after about 10, 15, 20 seconds, my God, and then you just navigate away from it. So, yeah.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah. And in regards to the schools in particular, I mean, obviously every business right now is trying to figure out how to change their actual message for marketing. But what is one tidbit I get for like the schools and universities that maybe they could use to capture people's attention that's different for like during COVID?
Scott, do you still have that website up? I don't know if you had IntelliText or not.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
Something at the top of the website, what we've found is just a little blurb at the very top above the header right now, that especially during this time, that just let, and IntelliTech I know has it, Scott, so if you've got their website, and maybe share that piece, that right at the top in the green there, it says IntelliTech College is here for you, click here. And it said it had a little bit more of a COVID message early on, so they've moved off of it a bit. But this little section at the top was more COVID based initially, and now it's kind of evolved. So maybe not the greatest example here, but I don't know if Asher's any different. But it was, we're still open, doing virtual appointments or doing virtual interviews. Is essentially what the top of that was for schools is, hey, we're still open, taking virtual interviews today, or virtually enrolling students today. I don't want to go enrolling because that's skipping a step. You're just here to explore. So the next step would be an appointment. So we're still here for you. Click here, during this time to help you. Click here for a virtual appointment type of a thing. And I think I think those are important messages to put at the top, especially for schools.
Perfect. Yeah. And my last question was going back to something that you had said earlier.
Example there.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, I see that. And yeah, my last question was just going to something that you said a little bit earlier was, which we're seeing as an organization too, is that kind of the silver lining of, being remote, we can actually, we're saving a lot of time. We're actually, being able to engage with a lot more people than we wouldn't have before. So do you think that this new virtual world where everybody's almost like having to do this virtually, Do you think that through this, like you were saying, combating people's like time restraints and limitations to accessibility, that's much easier right now. Do you think this is something that's going to stay past COVID and become more popular, or do you think it's so popular now almost because it's a have to?
Yeah, if a company is doing virtual selling, whatever they're doing, if they don't continue doing it after everything settles down, that's a big mistake. There's so many companies, particularly schools, that have been doing it for years and years and years. And the brick and mortar, we're talking about schools right now, but it can be any type of business. The ones that scramble to do it have told us after things settle down, we're just going to keep doing it because, as you said, Nikki, it's just opened up a whole other market to them, as well. And it's just easier to get a hold of people at their convenience. Instead of them having to visit the business, you're making it more convenient for you to bring the business to them. And Tom, I think I know how you feel, but
yeah, well, you saw those numbers that I posted. So
yeah.
Those are numbers year over year increases. So it's COVID, schools doing a good job during this time, or businesses doing a good job during this time of virtual, are up year over year to last year in sales. I have a school in New York that I just worked with, culinary school. So it's very difficult. Right now they're in New York City. So they can't have anybody there at all. And they're in the epicenter of where everything started in New York City as a culinary school. They're up 39% year over year with applications, and they're up like 50% since like January over budget of what they were doing, simply because now we had to drag them kicking and screaming into this thing. The least tech savvy people, I think, at least hopefully the people on this group, by the nature of the name of this group, should be able to figure out how to turn Zoom on. And how to maybe use a green screen or something like that and present and be able to turn screen sharing on and off and use breakout rooms, waiting rooms, things like that. Once you get that down and you master it, and you can do something in 30 minutes that would normally take you an hour, plus if you had to drive to someone's business, another half an hour to an hour each way, I can be so much more effective. So long story short, this should be the new normal going forward, and you should never go back to the way you used to do it, even if everything ends tomorrow and we're back to the way we were.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like I said, even just our organization ourselves, we've noticed a huge difference from now that we've kind of kicked up our virtual offerings. Because before it was really, like you said, you're late, you don't know about traffic issues or family issues or whatever it may be. So even when we had events, I don't think we captured quite as many people in person as we're doing virtually. And like you said, I think just, the turnover conversion rates there are great because people don't really have as many excuses to why they can't attend, and they're much more available. And as you were talking too, I was thinking how perfect would that be also is that if you've got people, I was thinking back to the schools where if the grandparents want to see the school or be included in that conversation, or you have different parents, maybe one travels for work, that you can include everybody in that conversation, via Zoom or doing something virtual. I think that just in the end really helps everybody's case altogether.
Right. Absolutely. Good point. And that's exactly right. You can get somebody in Fort Lauderdale, their parents or whomever, maybe in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Well, you get them all together.
Exactly. Well, I wanted to thank you both for coming on tonight, for educating us all, including myself. I actually on social I put a bunch of your links to your LinkedIn pages, your email addresses. So if there's any additional information, please feel free to email me, and I'll make sure to get that out to our members as well. But I just wanted to thank you both for spending the time tonight with us.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you
Nikki.
guys very much. Pleasure.
Take care now.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.